Assalamu alaikum. This is Amna here, live from TBC Talks. I hope you all are doing great and are safe and sound. And before I start today's session of TBC Talks, I would like to state that while conducting this whole session, we have kept and followed each and every possible SOP at our workplace. So let's start this session, an insightful session on what to do in first 3 years of your career. So today with us we have an amazing personality and indeed an inspiration from the banking industry, Syed Jafar Raza, who is a country head transaction and investment banking at Askari Bank, and amazingly he also has some strong perspective when it comes to the economy of Pakistan. So let's welcome him. Assalamu alaikum sir, how are you?
Thank you very much. Thank you for nice.
Thank you so much sir for being a part of TBC Talks. And before we start this whole, ongoing session of question and answer, I would like to ask the first question. That kindly tell me and my audience that what is the other, part of your personality? Who is Syed Jafar Raza?
Well, there is only one side, and
Okay.
there is no other side. I'm part of what is known as Generation X,
Hmm.
and people who were born late 70s
Hmm.
and started from analog and were early adapters for digital world. So this transition itself had uh, on one side it had to do with you know your uh, your work life. It had certain aspects dealing with your work life, but at the same time it had certain implications on the personal life. So it's not how and why one use a digital channel or an electronic device. It's man and machine and
Yeah.
its trust on various things.
Mhm.
I know some bit of it would be complicated to explain, but it's just that it's a simple life, professionally as well as personally. So
That's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So, can you tell that what is the best decision in your career that you have made so far?
okay. So it's see, there have been a couple of decisions that I made
Mhm.
in my professional life.
Right.
Some of them had to do with my career, and when I see, in hindsight, I think there were certain a couple of decisions which had a very positive impact
Right.
on my career. Uh, I don't know, to be very honest, that had I not taken those decisions,
Hmm.
things could have been even better. But I don't know that. But what I know is that those decisions led me to a place where I have no complaints as such about my career. One was very early in my career. This was after I had done my bachelor's, that I had joined a manufacturing concern. Perhaps it was the largest private sector manufacturing multinational company in Pakistan, and I was a trainee there, uh, and I was probably in my teens. It was probably 18 or 19 years of age, and then I realized that I don't want to be in the manufacturing sector as such.
Okay.
I always thought, or I realized at that time that perhaps service sector was something that attracts. And it was a matter of few days after joining that I left. I quit. And leaving. When we were growing up, having financial independence was a big deal. Letting go of that independence by quitting a job within 1 week
Joining
of
it.
joining
Yeah.
was a bold decision, and I think that is the age where one things without too much about consequences and makes
Hmm.
decisions as per one's gut feel.
Yeah.
So that was one decision that I think was the right one.
Yeah.
Perhaps I could have done very well. I don't know that now, but leaving that led me to do my degree in marketing, and then when I joined a bank as a management training, a few years down my career, I was given an opportunity where the financial package was, or the salary was less than what I was getting, but the job was exciting. The job was, the nature of job was as such that uh, I hadn't done it before. So it was an unknown variable for me. But I took a leap of faith. I took a pay cut and joined. I was within the banking. I was doing corporate banking, which is called relationship management, and I moved to investment banking. And I took a pay cut for that. And I had some very good colleagues. I learned a lot, and I think again it was a bold decision because I know not only did I take a couple of years off my experience, but also, like I said, I took a pay cut, and I think it paid off. So these are two decisions, and the point is what I'm trying to make is that one needs to make some bold decisions.
Yeah.
Earlier you make it, better it is for you because you don't have weight to carry along.
Right.
So my suggestion would be to make bold decisions.
Yeah. You did take bold decisions back then, and you are happy where you are right
Yeah,
now.
I'm happy. I'm okay. I'm content,
You're
and I
content.
think, like I said, it's always when you look back, hindsight में आपको vision आपका perfect होता है. I'm just repeating the fact that I could have been better there.
Yeah.
But I would have regretted that why did I not take that decision when I was given an option. So वो कहते हैं कि करके पछता लेना बेहतर है बल्कि उससे ना करके पछताने से.
बिल्कुल.
So again, what I have learned is it's not about good or bad decisions. The worst part is being indecisive. So
Exactly.
One needs to take decisions.
Exactly, I do agree. And the second question is the most asked question that what are the potential careers during COVID-19 that the freshers or people like me or everybody should opt for?
I think we have read a lot about
Yeah.
what are the new professions, what are the new areas where one can always one can now move into. So there are two aspects, I think. One is the fact that what could have been done during COVID, but we have to look at COVID from a little different perspective, and that is the world has changed now.
Yeah.
So we are not going to get back to pre-2020 situation now. The world has changed. The world, because it was not one event which happened for a week or existed for a month. It is something which is which existed for about, now it's
More
about
than
to
a
be
year. Yeah.
about to celebrate the first birthday of COVID perhaps in Pakistan, but it has changed everything.
Right. Every perspective
Everything.
of living. Right.
So the change had already started. The pace has accelerated.
Yeah.
And again, needless to say, there are so many areas जो कि अब extinct हो जाएंगे. There are so many new areas which would come over. I think it would be, at least for me, I don't think I am qualified to predict what will happen and what specific area one can choose. However, there are certain common attributes or skills that one should have, and first and the foremost is being comfortable with your digital life.
Yeah.
Okay? one should beyond being a user of machines, one needs to learn. Perhaps only 5% or 3% of the population needed to learn about machines, how they work and how they are programmed. Now perhaps about 30% of the population, if they want to continue a growth trajectory in their professional career, they need to learn how things happen.
Right.
It's post facto analysis बहुत आसान होता है.
Exactly.
One need to inculcate a habit of reading the trends. Reading the trend is something I don't know which skill is which discipline would teach you that, but it can be learned by not being in a classroom even. You just need to be someone who can analyze things, can analyze trends, how they are shaping up.
Right.
Locally and internationally. And again, बड़ी घिसी पिटी सी बात है, artificial intelligence है, digitalization है, IT है. So it's out there. A few clicks would lead you to what are the new professions, what are the new skills.
This era is the era of digitalization. Yeah. So, sir, what skills of SET do you think are much necessary now than ever before in order to build a successful career?
देखिए, ओके, सबसे पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि इट्स नाउ an era where one has to be independent.
Yeah.
So नौकरी वाला जो mindset है, I think जो youngsters हैं, those who are in their teens or are completing their bachelor's degree, they need to be very firm about having a mindset where they want to do, where they want to create something of their own, even a small business, even a very small idea can take you to a place where you would actually own something.
Right.
So पहले जब एक इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन या मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एरा था, वहाँ पे असेंबली लाइन वर्क था, वहाँ पे एक इंडिविजुअल वाज रिस्पांसिबल फॉर डूइंग वन पर्टिकुलर जॉब ओनली. Now that is not the time now. Specialization is good, it's always good, but you need to have a broader view of things. You should be able to zoom in and zoom out at your will.
Yeah.
You should be knowing finance, you should be knowing accounting, you should be knowing about marketing. Within marketing, you should be knowing digital marketing, you should be knowing how word of mouth works. You should know what are the latest HR trends. Everything. Even if you are working on a very small scale, all those things, or even if you are working in a business environment where you are an employee, you have to have a very clear-cut understanding of the other side of the table, what is happening on the other side of the aisle. So I would say that being able to understand what is happening, that is probably a very important skill. It's very easy for me to say कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि हो क्या रहा है, which part of the overall machinery you are in.
Right.
Because nobody is a machine itself. All of us are very small parts of a bigger scheme of things. So
exactly.
For me to grow up to a certain level, I should know where exactly I am. Right?
Yeah.
तो मैप पे मैं अपने आप को देख तो सकूं कि where I am, where I am going, कहाँ पे challenges हो सकते हैं, कहाँ पे I can speed up, and so on and so forth. So
it's all about learning and adapting things.
Yeah.
So, sir, what are the most important milestones or achievements that you would like to see someone accomplish in the first few months or first few, starting of their career?
देखिए, at the risk of repeating myself, but uh, for any new individual who is starting and taking up a new job or is setting up a new business, should be able to understand where in the overall scheme of thing he is fitting.
Exactly.
सबसे पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि वो इस चीज़ को समझे. नंबर 2 माइलस्टोन ये है, इट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल माइलस्टोन. वो ये कि आप जिस एनवायरनमेंट में काम कर रहे हैं, जिन लोगों के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, यू शुड एटलीस्ट नो देयर नेम्स. It's a very small milestone. You should know, before you know what is expected of you, you should know what is expected of them. Who are your colleagues, your senior colleagues, your partners, and so on and so forth. So, पहला माइलस्टोन में मेरा अपना ख्याल ये है कि आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि आप कहाँ फिट हो रहे हैं in a bigger picture. Number 2 is you need to make your presence felt. And it's not by being loud, being obnoxious, or being extremely funny. It's by adding some value.
Yeah.
It's by asking some very pertinent questions. It's by being on time. So and by being there when you are needed. So these are some small things that one should try to do at the earlier part of the career. And while we are discussing this, I had jotted down certain points which I want to share with the audience. And this is what the topic of the talk is for today, and that is what to do and what to expect when you are starting your career. So first and foremost, I think that you need to have a distinction between what you have learned in your academics is not exactly what is practiced when you work in an office.
Not at all.
So you don't try to fit what is being what is happening with what you have learned.
Exactly.
So, and when I say that, I don't mean that you forget what you have read in the books or what your teachers have told you. वो ऐसे ही किताबों में वो practices या वो suggestions नहीं आ रही हैं. There are reasons. However, in real life things evolve. So you need to strike a balance of what you have learned in a classroom setting and what is happening in real life. And I'm sure in every book they tell you this is how it happens, this is perhaps what should be done, but this is not exactly what you should be doing when you enter your professional life. They keep that flexibility. So when you enter your professional life, you should understand that if any practice is being practiced, वो किस theory की extension है, वो किस theory की contravention में हो रही है, वो किस theory की accordance में हो रही है. So you first need to understand what the practice is.
Right.
From a purely banking perspective, the first book when we were starting off banking as a management trainee was Banking Laws and Practice, and our instructor on day one asked us, what do you see when you see that book?
Yeah.
And we just said Banking Laws and Practice. The point is there are two things, laws and practice. So आपको अलग-अलग पढ़ाया जा रहा है. On our laws, which are not necessarily the practices, and there are certain practices जो कि law नहीं है, ये law का part नहीं बनी है, but those are as we call best practices. So वो कहीं किताब में नहीं लिखा होगा कि ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, but वो होती हैं.
Exactly.
So one needs to learn what are the best practices.
Means there's a gap and one needs to bridge the gap, right?
True.
Exactly. I do agree with all these things. I have experienced this on my own level.
And I think second thing is adaptability.
Exactly.
And again, it's an extension of the same thing, that you need to adapt to the new environment, to the new practices, to the new reality. So, every organization, every sector, every geographical location has its own reality. So what is reality in Karachi may not be a reality in, say, for example, Lahore. What is practiced in
Yeah.
Islamabad may not be the same which is practiced in Dubai, and we can take this example to North
And
America,
it goes
but
on.
it just moves on.
Yeah. So, sir, the very interesting question that what is your take on the current situation on economy of Pakistan?
Okay, the इकोनॉमी जो है ना पाकिस्तान की एक नाजुक सूरत हाल से गुजर रही है
ये मैंने बहुत टीवी पे सुना है.
और ये हम सुनते आए हैं दिस इज इट्स ऑलवेज लाइक दिस इट्स ऑलवेज लाइक दिस नोबडी वुड से कि इकोनॉमी बहुत अच्छी है एवरीबडी में से दैट इकोनॉमी जो है इससे बेहतर हो सकती थी इकोनॉमी तबाह हो गई है रफ पैच है एंड अ लॉट ऑफ इट इज पॉलिटिकल chatter a lot of it is political debate some of it is true but there are facts which may not represent the reality.
Exactly.
Those facts are correct on standalone basis, but reality may be a little different. So, economy of Pakistan, you have to look from two different perspectives. One is again purely on a standalone basis, and one is when you compare it with the comparative economies like Bangladesh, India, or neighboring countries. Of course, there have been two important events that we need to look at for the past 2-3 years. One was the change of government. Obviously, that resulted in change of policies. And then COVID. And in the backdrop of COVID disruption, probably Pakistan and China economic corridors. If you want to simplify it, and it's not simple, but if you want me to simplify it, it could have been much worse. God has been very kind with Pakistan that the mortality rate has been low. Pakistan was under an IMF program, which restricted certain actions to be taken, but COVID enabled Pakistan to take certain steps, and some of those steps were rightly taken. I'm not a fan of this particular administration. However, there were certain decisions which were taken timely, implemented, and I think we would see those results in coming years. So, like I said, economy is not flourishing as such, but it could have been worse.
I feel the same.
And I think if the momentum keeps going in terms of some of the steps and those results that are coming in because of those steps, perhaps we'll see in next 1 or 2 years that the economy would be back on track, which it was not.
Inshallah, hope for the best. So, where do you see the economy of Pakistan in next 3 to 5 years?
That's okay. Like I said, economy has a direct impact on a lot of things. On our independence, on the independence of decisions, and unfortunately or fortunately, it's the political environment which has the largest impact on the economy itself.
Exactly.
So it's always the a reverse kind of a two-way relationship. But I think if we see some kind of stability in our political landscape in next 2-3 years, I think I see Pakistan economy getting stabilized from this point onward. We would hopefully start to see and witness the benefits of CPEC, which a lot of some of the projects are now starting to give fruits, and we have seen the power situation has improved. The electricity and power situation had a very bad impact on our economy. it was a very bad impact on the morale of the nation as well.
Exactly.
So we have covered that, but there are certain structural issues which are still there. I don't know how many of you would be interested in circular debt, but that's a flag which is eating Pakistan. So we need to do something
Definitely.
about this circular debt. Uh, so, like I said, all in all, I think if the current set of policies are to be continued,
Yeah.
good or bad, okay, without making a judgment about
Yeah.
good or bad policies. I think just the fact that these policies will continue unchanged would result in would give certain degree of confidence
Yeah.
to those players जिनकी decision economy को बहुत ज़्यादा impact करते हैं.
बिल्कुल.
So I'm positive. In short, I'm positive.
I think the things getting better inshallah in next 2 to 3 years, and let's see, hope for the best. And so sir, another question regarding the economy of Pakistan, then what are the causes of industrial backwardness in Pakistan, and how can the government remove these problems?
I think Pakistan, we all take pride in the fact that Pakistan was one of the fastest growing economy in the 60s.
Yeah.
And we had this centralized planning system, 5 years plans and 10 years plans, and we proudly claim that South Korea actually copied our 5 year planning.
Yeah, exactly.
And we went there and trained them. So planning is very important. When we stop planning, China is a big industrial base. I think a lot of it depends on the fact that it's a controlled economy. When I say controlled economy, I actually meant planned economy. So for Pakistan, there are multiple reasons.
Yeah.
We can always talk about planning at the federal government level. Then certain policies like privatization or nationalization of some industries in late 70s, unfortunately, that led to private sector being extremely demotivated from investing in Pakistan. Thirdly is our labor force or manpower. So when we talk about industry, it's always about manpower. So we don't have a means that there were certain policies which led to defaults in industrial sector. Then again, हम as a nation हमने अपनी होम ग्रोन इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट नहीं करते. हमें अच्छी क्वालिटी की चीज़ें चाहिए होती हैं इम्पोर्टेड. वी टेक प्राइड कि जो इम्पोर्टेड हो. वो पॉलिसीज, फॉर एग्जांपल there have been a couple of era where economy was jump started by encouraging consumption led models. For example, in Musharraf days, it was all consumption based, which resulted in huge inflow of imported goods and products, and which resulted in Pakistan being because a trader is someone who would always want to make a quick buck, who would always want to have a return on its investment within 1 year. When you set up an industry, your returns are measured in decades, right? 1 decade, 2 decade, at least 5 years before you actually start to see when you see your business being debt free. So I think policies be untrained manpower in Pakistan. Thirdly, as a nation, we are very complex. We want to buy imported stuff. We want to use imported stuff. We are not uh, we try to avoid local है, right? तो वो local consumption, local manufacturing इस तरह से encourage नहीं
हो रहा support exactly.
So these are, I think, some of the reasons which has led to the state of economy or state of industrialization that we have seen. Taking this question a little further, I think हमें बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान होने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है industrialization के लिए, because now economy has moved towards the knowledge era and digitalization. So if we can somehow leverage on our what we call youth bulge and IT and information, IT and communication technology, ICT, perhaps we would sooner or later compensate for our industrial lack of industrial base, which nonetheless is important. I'm not saying it's not important, but certain things have happened in the last decade, like China becoming the factory for the world. So it's very difficult for any country or any industrialist in any part of the world to make a product which is cheaper than Chinese product. It's become very difficult. So if that is the new game, then we should try to do something different.
Okay. So the very last question from my side. So what one piece of advice would you like to give to the audience who are watching us?
I don't know who is watching, what kind of people are watching. I would say that as a nation, थोड़ा सा I don't know to sound very patronizing, but as a nation we need to as a nation we need to look at us very critically. There are a lot of things that we expect from other and we don't practice ourselves. चाहे वो सच बोलना हो, चाहे वो किसी के साथ ऑनेस्ट होना हो, चाहे वो पूरा तोड़ना हो, बहुत छोटी छोटी चीज़ें हैं. मेरे ख्याल में अगर हम अपने नेबरिंग, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हम अक्सर होते हैं कि जी हमारा लामाना जहनियत है, ब्रिटिशर्स ने जो है हमें क्लर्क्स बना दिया, बहुत पुरानी बातें हो गई हैं, 70-75 साल हो गए हैं. नॉलेज इज इजीली अवेलेबल, आपका माइंडसेट जो है किताबों पर डिपेंडेंट ही नहीं है. So if you look at the West, or if you look at developed countries, even developing countries like Vietnam and some of the regional players, just look at their national behavior, their national attitude about ethics, about morality. तो हम सब जो हैं वो रिलीजन के पीछे तो जरूर छुपते हैं, बट एथिक्स और मोरालिटी को जो है वो कहीं भूल जाते हैं. तो वो मेरे ख्याल में इट्स अबाउट टाइम दैट वी शुड लुक एट ethics, morality, and what is right and what is wrong from the purely societal point of view, not from a purely religious lens. So this is all I can advise.
Well said. Okay, so thank you so much for being a part of TBC Talks, and
for being here. Thank you very much.
And thank you for sharing your valuable life experience with us. And here's a small token of appreciation from our team.
Thank you very much.
मैं कभी खाली हाथ में जाने देती है इसको. So now I would like to end the session here. I and Syed Jafar Raza would like to sign off. I hope you all must have liked the whole session, and it will help you somewhat some guidance in what to do in first 3 years of a career. So until next time, thank you and Allah Hafiz.